Lions, Getty Images. Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Antonio Brown turned heads after his team's 23-20 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday when he offered to pay teammate Juju Smith-Schuster's potential fine following a vicious hit. Smith-Schuster leveled Bengals linebacker Vontaze Burficit with a blindside block in the second half at Paul Brown Stadium and drew a flag for the hit. He was also penalized for standing over the linebacker and taunting him. The taunting looked particularly egregious considering the Bengals announced Burficit was ruled out with a head injury after the play, according to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. As Juju Smith-Schuster talked about his block on Vontaze Burficit, Antonio Brown kept yelling "Karma" in Smith-Schuster's direction. He said, "Touchdown, Brown will pay his fine." Quote. Brown also said, I liked that. When discussing the block. Per Chris Adamski of the Tribune Review, the comments stood in stark contrast to those from Bengals wide receiver A.J. Green. Brown helped spearhead Pittsburgh's comeback from an early 17-0 deficit with 8 catches for 101 yards and a touchdown. But the physical nature of the contest and the ensuing injuries including Burficit stood out more than the result. The Bengals announced running back Joe Mixon suffered a concussion and defensive back Adam Jones suffered a groin injury. Pittsburgh announced linebacker Ryan Shazier suffered a back injury and replacement Tyler Matakovich suffered a shoulder injury. It was Shazier's setback that left fans and players taken aback. He was carted off the field after lying motionless on the ground for an extended period following a first-quarter tackle. The Steelers noted he was taken to the hospital, and many players were emotional during the scene. Such a jarring setback in the opening stages of the game makes Smith-Schuster's decision to taunt another injured player even more questionable. Although Brown suggested there was karma at work considering it was Burficit. There is a history in place with Brown and Burficit, which Ryan Wilson of CBS Sports rehashed. Burficit unleashed a brutal hit on Brown's head when the receiver crossed the middle in a playoff game following the 2015 season. Brown was concussed as a result, and Burficit was suspended 3 games to start the 2016 campaign. However, Burficit said he faked that to Doughton Akintoye of ESPN the magazine when discussing Brown's injury. I feel like he looked at me. He added, the ball tipped off his hands and he kind of put his head towards my area. And I tried to fade off of him at the last second. But he initially tried to make contact because he knew he could get the flag. And just the way he went down, it was just like, hey, don't know, man. Quote. Burficit has the history with Brown, but he wasn't the only Bengals player in the receiver's crosshairs after the contest. The guy just left his feet and hit me in the head. Brown said of safety George Aloka's penalized hit in the end zone. Per Mark Kaboly of The Athletic, karma for him, too. Quote. Brown's comments and the physical nature of Monday's game adds another chapter to this rivalry. But they won't renew acquaintances on the field again this season unless they meet in the playoffs.